I've spent my life never feeling seen, like truly never feeling seen. As long as I can remember, I always felt that if I were to make everybody happy, then they would in return love me, see me, recognize me, compliment me, tell me that they love me, tell me that I'm wonderful, tell me all of the things that I was longing to hear. And so I made it a very unconscious, accidental habit to try to put everybody else's needs in front of my own because I didn't feel seen. I didn't feel worthy of love just because I existed. I didn't feel like I could just get what I wanted because I wanted it. I felt I had to earn it. I felt I had to work towards it. And these realizations that I'm talking about, this is the realization I'm having today at this stage in my life. I wasn't thinking those things deliberately back then. I was unknowingly, this was the underlying tone of what was going on with me from childhood through present day, honestly. I've been working on it for a while, so it's not quite the same. I've understand. So, it's easy now to look back and go, okay, oh, you didn't realize you were worthy. Oh, you didn't realize that you were wonderful. Oh, you didn't realize that whatever, XYZ. However, in this not feeling seen, I also have felt special in my own way. I've always believed that I was a really remarkable person. Like I believed that I had the strength to do whatever it was that I wanted. And I felt like I channeled that by, being there for other people. And I felt like because of the things I did for others, because of the way I showed up in a responsible manner, that was proof that I was enough, right? And today this video really is about all of the things that I've done and focused on in order to prove to myself that I was good enough. For the reason that if anybody tried to tell me something different, that I would have the confidence, the knowing within that what they said was not true. And to even try to explain that in a different way, I basically have worked on myself so that if somebody tried to criticize me, I could prevent myself from feeling pain because I would have such a confidence in knowing this thing about myself, and I'm going to cover what those things are in a minute, that if somebody told me differently, I would be unfazed by it. I would know that I knew the truth within who I was, and therefore nobody could tell me differently. Nobody could hurt me with an insecurity that I had or a fear that I had because I have been working on those things myself so that nobody could tell me different. So that if it came up where somebody was planning to hurt my feelings, they couldn't. So what does this look like? What does this look like is saying yes even when I wanted to say no. Why? Because then that person could never tell me I was a bad person because I did something from them. That person, if they decided to hurt me, then I could easily look at them and go, what are you talking about? Do you see that all of this I've done for you? Or do you see do you remember the times that I said yes when, and they didn't know that I wanted to say no, but it was something that I did as a protective mechanism because if they thought I was good, then it would prove to me that I was good. So not every action, a lot of the actions I've taken in my life, thinking that I was a good girl, thinking that it was, if I made other people love me, they would see me for who I was. And then if I needed them to be there for me, they would be there for me. That level of thinking, when I started to take it down, I've realized that anything that I've ever been criticized about in my life, whether it came from, kids in school, from family, from, fights that I've gotten in with my siblings or my parents, I realized that anytime I've ever had a perceived level of criticism, I have internalized that as I need to perfect this in order for me to have a defense in case it ever comes up again. And I realized that, society as a whole criticizes you, right? Like, if you don't look this way, if you don't talk this way, if you make these choices in your life, then you are not good. So society has a layer of it. It's being fed to us through, multiple outlets. And then it trickles down into your inner circle of people. You can sit back and you can listen to somebody that you love talk, not even about you. And if they criticize somebody, you are literally taking that into account, or I was taking it into the account, like, oh, don't do that. Because if you do that, they're not going to think that you're worthy. They're not going to think you're good enough. They're going to categorize you as bad. And again, these were not conscious thoughts. These were not like, oh, I'm so unworthy, blah, 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 blah. This is unfolding, right? This is what's happening, and this is the message that's being received internally that you're not aware of. So if I've seen, this is what my body should look like, this is what my teeth should look like, this is how my hair should look like, I have worked on those things in my life so that nobody could ever tell me you have bad teeth, and I would not be fazed by that. Do you see? Even though, yes, I've worn braces and then my teeth grew back the way they were. So whatever. But that's my point. Exactly. The reason is because I just didn't accept myself for who I was in my imperfections, which reality is not imperfection. It's who I am. It's what makes me me. And so my physical appearance is a big part of that, right? I want to have a perfect body because God forbid anybody wants to leave me. I don't ever want to have something in my head that says, well, maybe if this looked different, then they would have stayed. Or maybe if I had a prettier face, or maybe if I did this thing, then they couldn't leave me because I'm perfect by the societal standards, I'm perfect by their standards, I'm perfect by my standards. So everything, and I want to talk about parents, being a parent. Being a parent, there is a societal expectation. You're not supposed to yell. You're supposed to do all of these things, like, kids being prioritized number one. And while all those things are valid and good and great for somebody who does it, I will say that I have struggled with my identity of who I am as a mom, and I have literally tried to perfect being a parent, which I think makes me a good parent. However, I've also done it so that nobody could hurt me with a contrasting idea, so that people couldn't tell me you did it wrong, because I couldn't take that level of criticism. And so everything that I have done has been in an attempt to protect myself from being seen and judged inaccurately, because my fragile ego, my fragile sense of self couldn't take criticism and be unfazed by it. And so everything I have worked on, everything that I have done has been in an attempt to make sure that nobody could say anything bad about me. Well, let me tell you, that's impossible. People are going to talk. People are going to say what they're going to say. And at the end of the day, I see me for me. And I am determined to ensure that if I'm doing something, I'm doing it for me, and not because somebody else is going to be out there to validate me and tell me you're good because you're doing this thing. You're good because you act this way. You're good because you say this thing. You're good because you look like that. I'm not going to do it. But I wanted to share this with you. Why? Because I was inspired to do so, and I like doing that kind of thing. So I know you're having a great day. Keep shining your light because the world needs it. Take care.